Hello, friends. It's me, the Gun Penguin. You're seeing my face, which is rare outside of the range of videos. Usually, you're just looking at my desk and whatever gun is on it. But I wanted to address you from this angle because we've got to talk about something kind of serious. Also, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm just gonna just hold them like this for the whole video. Anyway, wow, it already it's the camera's been facing this direction for a couple of minutes, and it's already gotten really weird. Also, if you see me looking this direction, I've kind of rigged up a little teleprompter for myself to help me out. So tonight, we need to talk about the shootings. It's time. Our community talks a lot about media and political reactions to shootings, but we don't discuss the events themselves for the most part. And it's been a very, very bad week in America. But we have shootings every week. It's depressing that that's kind of become the normal course of things. But what makes this week truly remarkable, the sad thing is the turn that the rhetoric has taken. Both sides now, Republicans and Democrats, are moving towards, well, I guess, banning guns or gun control. I sort of feel an assault weapons ban on the horizon based on the way everyone is talking. So for the last 2 decades, the Republican Party has been largely seen as kind of a bulwark protecting our Second Amendment rights. But if you look at their voting history prior to the last 2 decades, that wasn't really the case. Both sides have been pretty equally responsible for tarnishing our rights over the years. But we can't trust the Republicans anymore to do what's right for us. We can't trust them to stand in the way of gun control. Now it feels like it won't be too terribly long before they're the ones proposing new gun control measures. I also didn't really want to make this video. My friends kind of encouraged me to. I don't know what I can really add to this argument, but I'm just going to say what I feel like I need to say. It's who the fuck knows if it'll matter or make any sense, or probably won't. But maybe it'll add one more video that lets folks see, what our community is about. But if you don't have all day to listen to me yak, I can give you my thesis in one sentence. Guns don't cause mass shootings. That's it. Guns have fuck all to do with mass shootings. That's what this video boils down to. But anyhow, my political credentials, I guess you would call me a liberal. That label doesn't have much meaning anymore, but that's probably what most people would call me. I'm something of an absolutist regarding the First and Second Amendments. I believe wholly in personal freedom, and I believe that personal freedom is really kind of all that matters in life. Personal freedoms give us room to thrive and succeed and explore our endeavors fully, and that's what made this country in the first place and helped us build the America that we have now. With the president's comments showing us that he doesn't value the Second Amendment, and with the near collapse of the NRA, guns are no longer a partisan issue. No matter how you vote, guns are the only thing preserving your freedoms. The Second Amendment in 2019 is the only thing that stands between us and total surveillance and total oppression. So whether you live on a farm, too far away to receive police assistance in a timely manner, or you're a young lady, maybe with a dangerous ex, or a black man afraid of police persecution, you need the Second Amendment. It's your only real protection. So before we talk about mass shootings, we do need to talk about the political response and how we, the gun community, are responding to that response. I did not vote for Donald Trump, and I do not like Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care about the Second Amendment. He never has, and he doesn't care about gun owners. He's done nothing to further our rights. The NFA is still in place. Our concealed carry rights haven't expanded. We gain nothing. Instead, we've actually lost ground during his presidency. So are we going to reelect him in 2020? We need to think long and hard about that as a country. To liberals so eager to throw your rights away, remember how essential these rights are and how dangerous life is without them. You think police oppression is a problem right now? Wait until you don't have guns. You don't want this government in the state it's in now to have unchecked power over you. You really don't. Yet you're so eager to give up your guns when mass shootings have really nothing to do with guns. So why do we have mass shootings? I want to talk about this in a way that the gun community usually doesn't like to. Mass shootings are carried out by white boys, young white kids, often from the suburbs. They're usually troubled in some way, maybe with family problems, maybe with social problems. We always look to blame external factors, video games, divorce, guns, lack of hugs, whatever. Those things are related, but they are not direct causes. Video games serve as an escape for hundreds of millions of people, and those people don't go and shoot up schools. Divorce is a convenient thing for religious groups to point at, and guns are convenient for anti-gunners to point at. Those things don't cause mass shootings. We cause mass shootings, all of us. We cause them. The way we live as a society, the way we treat each other, and I'm just as guilty as you are. We don't treat each other with respect. When you see a young fella who acts kind of weird, instead of being a friend, we mock him and call him an incel or whatever the hateful flavor of the month is. It's okay. You can admit that you've done this. I've done it too. We've all been part of the problem. Every last fucking one of us. In our youth into adulthood, we've all done this. This has always happened since the beginning of time, I'm sure. As long as there have been young people, they've been complete shitheads to one another. But the circumstances of growing up are different these days. 40 years ago, it was harder to be totally isolated from society. It was rarer to see someone who had completely cut themselves off. People needed each other more. They needed those personal interactions more. But now, a troubled young fella can slide right into that hole and never come back out again. He might not know how to get out of it, and, goddamn, nobody's going to tell him. Not the way things are now. We've become cold, callous, self-centered. We no longer have that sense of community that we once did. And it's been very detrimental, I think. And I can't speak for other cultures, but white culture certainly has some problems that exacerbate this. A white kid is confronted with two opposing ideologies and told that only one can be correct, and that he must be a political monolith wholly in step with that ideology. The liberal ideology tells him that his inherent maleness is wrong and destructive, and the conservative ideology tells him to be an aggressive dick who calls people cucks and sissies. Both of these ideologies are extreme and destructive in their own way, and that's why we often see an extreme version of one of the two political directions kind of attached to these shooters as some sort of manifesto. So instead, we need to tell a young man that it's okay for him to build a belief system of his own. But more importantly, we need to tell young people of every race and gender that we love them, that we want to include them, and that we want to help them learn to love other people as well. And one way that we can show them that love is by offering mental health care. Republicans, the ones who haven't sold our Second Amendment rights away, say that shootings are a mental health issue. Well, put your money where your fucking mouth is. Pass some legislation that would help folks get mental health care. Politicians on the left mostly just blame guns and refuse to accept that none of their pet healthcare plans would go far enough toward providing enough care. The ACA certainly doesn't. Our healthcare system needs a radical overhaul. The ACA saved my life, but it is not the answer. Mental health care is still way too expensive and out of reach for most people. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have all of the answers, that I know how to solve the healthcare crisis. I fucking don't, and really probably none of us do. It's incredibly complicated. But it isn't working, what we're doing now, and none of the plans that have been put forward seem like they're going to be especially workable solutions either. We're just not there yet. We haven't figured it out. And we're so greedy. We're so fucking greedy with our money. Folks say, it's my money. I'm not willing to pay for you to get healthcare. More than a few of you have commented on my videos to say that you think it's unfair that you have to pay for my care. That attitude is why we have mass shootings. We don't care about people. We don't care about their health. I'm an atheist, but many of the folks clinging so desperately to their money claim to be Christians. It's disgusting how little we're willing to do to fix this problem. And all of us are guilty. All parties, all sides, everybody's guilty. And we have to destigmatize mental health care. Young men need to feel like it's not shameful for them to seek out professional help. I feel silly even saying that. Of course there should be no shame attached to it. It's ridiculous that in 2019 that's where we find ourselves. And the political rhetoric has to change. These shootings and the attached manifestos, they feel like a direct physical manifestation of the way we speak about politics and to each other. When we have political conversations, we have to accept that folks on the other side of the aisle are not demons, they're not idiots, they're not mentally ill just because they believe something different from what you believe. And they certainly don't deserve to die over a difference of opinion. Respect your political opponents and be willing to have a conversation with them. Love them, make new friends, invite them out for a fucking Starbucks. So what can we do to preserve our Second Amendment rights? And what makes the Second Amendment so important? Well, to preserve our rights, we've got to unify. For years, the NRA has kept the gun community divided. Instead of fighting solely for gun rights, they've backed a wide conservative agenda, and this has alienated a lot of folks like me. And as more and more minorities join the shooting community, they have also felt alienated by the NRA. I've heard from a lot of them. And as the NRA has imploded, it left a hole for a new organization to step into, like the GOA or maybe an organization that hasn't even been created yet. But whoever steps up, they need to do it quickly because we're running out of time. I can feel the clock ticking. The media spins the situation to make it seem as though popular opinion favors stricter gun control measures. I'd like to see more information about these polls and where they were conducted. Most media is made in LA and New York, cities that damn near feel like separate countries much of the time. I work in the music industry, and lots of the folks I run into from LA and New York are a bit out of touch with the rest of the country. So we have to make our voices heard on social media. We have to show our friends and family how many of us there are. Hell, call into your favorite radio stations. Be sure to call your representatives, write to them, send them snail mail or email, whatever you want to do. But be certain that they know how many of us there are and how passionate we are. And vote. Show your opinions with your votes. When I hear someone say that they don't vote, I want to scream. If you don't vote, I don't want to hear your opinion. You have to fucking vote. You have to take part in the process. On a more basic and personal level, have calm, rational discussions with your friends and family. And even if they don't speak to you with courtesy and respect, show them courtesy and respect. Show them that we're well-informed and kind, the opposite of the way we're portrayed by the media. Take folks to the range. If you can get someone to fire a few shots, they'll be fans of our sport for life, and that often leads them to becoming ardent defenders of the Second Amendment. Last of all, why do we need the Second Amendment? And why do I consider the First and Second Amendments to be so essential to our way of life? In the last century, we've seen our liberties eroded, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. They're washed away, usually under the auspices of public safety. That's usually how it's presented. Post 9/11, we willingly gave away our freedoms with alarming readiness. And now that we face another public safety crisis, here we are again, just clamoring to give them away. Here, please, take my rights. Freedom of speech means less than it ever has. Social media censors us at every turn. Look at the way YouTube treats folks posting videos. I've had my own trouble with YouTube. Immigrants are housed in cages, cops shoot unarmed black men, women lose their reproductive rights. Each media outlet has become the mouthpiece of one of the two parties. We're taxed into poverty, yet we have no health care and crumbling infrastructure, and your every move, your every word, your every thought is cataloged and stored by the government. We have so little freedom left. Don't you see it? Guns are the only thing that stand between us and total police oppression, total loss of women's reproductive rights. Total surveillance, total taxation. No matter which party you vote for, no matter what God you worship, if any, we agree that we're running out of freedoms. Whether you agree with me right now, you support my right to say what I'm saying. And with YouTube's policies what they are, my time to say this sort of thing on this platform might be growing short. The First and Second Amendments give us all the rest. They let us keep what's ours. And as long as we can speak out, we have a chance to grow our freedoms. And maybe as time passes, they can be what they once were. Thank you so much for watching this rambling mess, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I hope you have a much better week this coming week. Thanks again. Good night.